today, despite agitation about the legality of President Tinubu's nomination of Ola Olukoyede as EFCC chairman. The Senate confirms him after answering questions before the Red Chamber of the National Assembly. Tonight, we'll be engaging one of the Bayelsa state governorship candidates on the program. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimale in Abuja. So much to talk about tonight, but we will take our time to dissect those issues that affect the nation and of course our politics. From us going from the National Assembly, what happened today as far as the confirmation of Ola Olukoyede is concerned as the new EFCC chairman. It looks to me as now done and dusted. Olukoyede will be replacing Ibrahim Bawa as the new anti-graft boss. He will be heading that organization for the next few years. So Amajoda also is being confirmed as the executive secretary of the EFCC. All of that will be bringing to you the politics of the National Assembly and, of course, what is happening in the APC in Kogi State. We'll be bringing you up to speed. Smart Adeyemi has gone to the Supreme Court challenging the result of the primaries where Usman Ododo emerged as the APC flag bearer. And the appellate court, the appeal court, thrown out Smart Adeyemi's case of lacking in merit. But Smart Adeyemi says he still believes that he can have his way in the court on the fact that he believes that that primaries was unlawfully conducted. How? What does it mean? We'll be asking him these critical questions. Can't he just give up and just move on? But he says no. We'll be asking those questions. And then we will go to Bayelsa State. Don't forget, for the past few days, we have been treating and discussing and engaging candidates from Kogi State. Tonight, it will be the turn of one of the major and the frontline candidates in Bayelsa. So stick around with me, everyone, because we shall be giving you all of those. Let's tell you what happened today in the Senate. The confirmation of Mr. Ola Olukoyede as the EFCC chairman, as Hamajoda also has been confirmed as the executive secretary of the EFCC. Also was confirmed. There are about three of them that was confirmed today. But I'll allow you to listen to Ola Olukoyede as part of his engagement with the Senate.
The time has come for us to begin to look at more of prevention than enforcement. Enforcement is a very strong tool in our hand. We are going to apply it very seriously. But again, I discover that the incentives are there all around us in Nigeria. And I'll give you an example. You see an average level 8 public servant who drives 2 cars, who builds a house. I mean, this is common knowledge. Everybody knows. Now, we ask ourselves a question. His savings for 30 years, have been all through his service years, can he actually afford to buy this car? And we do more in the area of blocking the leakages.
There have been agitations about the legality of the nomination of Ola Olukoyede based on the Establishment Act of the EFCC, and those who have also insisted that the president has not done what is lawful in respect of the law, but he's been confirmed today. The Senate has also screened and confirmed the appointment of Halima Shehu as the Chief Executive Officer of the National Social Investment Program Agency, NSIPA. The President had on October 12, 2023, appointed Olukoyede and Amajoda as Chair and Secretary to the Commission, respectively. All right, then. Sometime in August, the Court of Appeal in Abuja dismissed an appeal brought before it by Senator Smart Adeyemi seeking to nullify the primary election of the All Progressives Congress APC in Kogi State, which produced Usman Ododo as the party's flag bearer in the forthcoming November 11 governorship election. The court held that The appeal by Senator Adeyemi was completely bereft of merit and was thrown out. In a unanimous judgment of a three-man panel, the court ruled that Adeyemi, who recently represented Kogi West Senatorial District in the Senate, failed to establish all grievous criminal allegations made against the conduct of the primary elections by APC and its leaders. Justice Mohammed Lawal Shuaib, who delivered the lead judgment, resolved all three issues in dispute against Adeyemi. Meanwhile, the senator who contested for the APC ticket has approached the Supreme Court, insisting the primary was not properly conducted. Senator Smart Adeyemi joins us live here in our Abuja studio. Thank you so much indeed for joining us tonight.
It's my pleasure being here again. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much indeed.
Yes, please.
Just give me a moment, because this moment I need to keep you up to date with what is happening around your world of politics. This is a political roundup stories.
The Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, has announced Senator Lola Ashiru as a new deputy leader of the Senate. Senator Ashiru, who is representing Kwara North Central Senatorial District in the Red Chamber, replaces Senator Dave Umahi, who has been appointed as the Minister of Works by President Bola Tinubu. Senator Ashiru was previously the deputy whip of the Senate, and his former position has now been taken by Senator Onyekachi Nwobonyi, representing Ebonyi North. The leadership of the Labour Party has expressed dissatisfaction over the recent Governorship Tribunal judgment in Enugu State, as it lists conditions for the acceptance of Mr. Basil Maduka into the party in Imo State. The Labour National Publicity Secretary, Mr. Obiora Ifo, told journalists at a news conference in Abuja that Mr. Basil's legal tussle up to the Supreme Court did a huge damage to the party's campaign efforts in Imo State. According to him, the Labour Party can only reconsider his acceptance into the party if he can campaign openly for the Labour Party candidate, Senator Athan Achonu. Meanwhile, Mr. Basil Maduka, at a separate news conference in Abuja, told journalists that he is ready to work for the party now that the Supreme Court has given its verdict on his case challenging the candidacy of the Labour Party candidate. Governor Uba Sani of Kaduna State says 86% of those living in rural communities in the state live below the poverty line, while only 14%, mainly those living in urban areas, live above the poverty line. He describes the figure as very scary and therefore stresses that his administration will work closely with all stakeholders to reduce the poverty level at the grassroots and revitalize the rural economies. Governor Uba Sani raised the observation during a meeting with all the 23 local government chairmen and 255 ward councillors in the state. Governor Yahaya Bello of Kogi State has warned those saddled with the responsibility of distributing palliatives in the state against shortchanging the people, stressing that any leader found wanting will be made to face the full wrath of the law. Governor Bello stated this in Lokoja, the state capital, while addressing party faithful during the unveiling of the distribution of palliatives in the state. He stated that the word-by-word distribution system was adopted to ensure that every citizen, irrespective of their political party, benefits from the palliative. And in Ogun State, Governor Dapo Abiodun has approved the extension of the 10,000 naira transport allowance granted to state civil servants to cushion the effect of removal of fuel subsidy by the federal government by another 6 months. Governor Abiodun was speaking during a meeting with permanent secretaries in the state, and he notes that the extension would only allow the state workforce to continue to cope with the effects of the subsidy removal. The governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in Kogi State, Senator Dino Melaye, has called on his supporters to stand firm during the electioneering campaign, assuring them that no amount of intimidation can stop the PDP from winning the November 11 election. Senator Melaye stated this in Lokoja, the state capital, while addressing women and youth leaders from the 21 local government areas of the state. He said the forthcoming election in Kogi State will be different from every other election, and he asked the electorate in the state to come out and cast their votes and defend it until the independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) announces a winner.
Dino Melaye is a global citizen. I am internationally connected. I am educated. I'm intellectually mobile. I'm a fine boy.
Then you've been served and you're up to date with your political stories there. Let's get back to our conversation now with Senator Smart Adeyemi, who contested for the APC ticket in Kogi State. But campaign is in full swing but he's now left out of the race because his name is not on the ticket, but he's still fighting because he believes that the primaries, which saw Usman Ododo emerge as a candidate of the APC, was unlawful and fraudulent. Senator Smart Ademi, thank you so much for it.
It's my pleasure once again to be here.
But let me take, before I take you into your Supreme Court pursuit, there's something I'd like you to note on, and the manner in which the Senate has screened some of the nominees of President Tinubu. A lot of people had criticized and said, look, these are not thorough enough to allow Nigerians to have a sense that this Senate is looking like a rubber stamp. What do you think?
I don't think so. In the first instance, we find it difficult to judge my colleagues in the 10th Assembly. But let me just tell you this, that the Senate is made up of men and women of high integrity. You see, when you are not in there, the way you look at issues differs. They have additional information that may not be on the streets. And for them to have confirmed the nominees, it isn't that they are rubber stamp. It's because probably they appreciated the exigencies of the time. And again, they believe in the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that is bringing people who will deliver. Well, I think more importantly, what Nigerians should know about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu today, including those who are ministers, is that from his track record, once you don't perform, 6 months, 1 year, he shows you the way out.
You think he can rejig his cabinet that?
That's what he's going to do. The man is in a hurry to make a difference. I sure you want to make a name. He want to reposition Nigeria. He want to recover lost ground for the nation. He's telling us that he appreciates we are going through some pains. See, he's coming with a track record of performance, and he's supported by a man who had enviable record in Borno State, the vice president. So what I'm saying in essence is that those who have been nominated, given appointment, I celebrate you. But if you don't perform, this man will show them out. It's not a question of leaving them for 8 years or 4 years. I sure you doesn't have that track record.
But what about, what do you say to those who question the character and some of the quality of those he has put together in his team, some of those he has put in some agencies? The people will say, look, if it was the Tinubu that we knew in Lagos, the class of people that served with him in 1999 to 2003 and 2003 to 2007, that's not the same Tinubu that they know. Those are some of the criticism about the quality and the character of those whom he has put together this time around.
Well, one thing you must understand in the democratic dispensation like ours, and taking Nigeria as an example, is that it is not just Tinubu alone who go ahead to make those nominations. The state governors will insist. Don't forget that some of them insisted that, look, we're going to recommend to you who will represent our state in your cabinet. So to some large extent, you must allow them to have their way a bit. But if after 6 months, 8 months, don't be surprised, some of them will be shown the way out. At that time, he'll be speaking from the point of knowledge of who you are giving to us, that they are not pulling their weight. Ashiwaju is not a man who will just keep quiet and go to sleep. If they fail to meet up, he's going to show them the way out. It's not a difficult thing. Nigeria is skeptical because maybe in the past, where you have some ministers sitting for 8 years, you know, nobody's asking them to give report, nobody's questioning them. This president will not do.
But what about, I mean, agreed, Bola Tinubu may have that kind of heart. But what about the Senate, whom, I mean, some people have raised questions about the kind of job they are doing in scrutinizing on behalf of the Nigerian people. They have the power of the Constitution to screen. But there are those who believe that these guys are not doing the right thing. They're not being thorough enough to scrutinize these people for the jobs.
Well, in assessing or in screening a candidate, what you take into consideration first and foremost is you look at his background. Is he knowledgeable enough to be so appointed? Now, at times when people appear, they may be stammering. Some people may come there, they may not be themselves. But that is not to say that they lack the capacity to perform. So until when you see some of them, or you look at their track record, and maybe after 1 or 2, 3 months, you get to know. There are some of them, some of the ministers that are performing excellently well now within the next, the last 2, 3 months. So time will justify whether they are good or not. It's a question of time.
Let me show you what happened yesterday. This was And I mean, you have been in the National Assembly for several years. This was an undercurrent that a lot of people believe that Senator Gov'ship is having a tough time. And there are those who are working on the ground to remove him as Senate President. Let me allow you to listen to Senator Aline Dume, who is the chief whip. And part of his comment is about the manner in which the Senate is being run. Take a listen to Aline Dume.
Just as a way of, advising the Senate on the way we do things. Mr. President, this is the Senate. This is the Senate. And we should not shy away from learning.
Sorry, Order 54. Order 54 says, shall locate time to all sequence of speeches, motions, or bills coming before the Senate. So as we are coming under Order 54, this is what is written there. So I'm sorry, Leader, we rule you out of order.
All right. Just as that was happening, this is what happened afterwards. I mean, that was the second time the chief whip was ruled out of order, and this is what happened. He took his leave. And thereafter, the Senate President called for an executive session. An executive session is a closed-door session where media and all other external persons are being asked to excuse the Senate. But there are those who believe that the senators who are boasting that Akpabio's time is ticking. What do you think could be going wrong?
Well, let me just say that Akpabio is a fine gentleman. You must give it to him. He's a gentleman, and I can tell you he's a harmless man. But see, the Senate is made up of members from different backgrounds, different political parties. Okay? There's no overwhelming majority, so to speak, for the ruling party in this present assembly. But I want you to equally realize that it's perhaps too early to start entertaining fears about the stability of the Senate. It's usually this pattern. After another 2, 3 months, 4 months now, they get to understand each other. And some of these issues that are being raised, Iduma didn't raise those issues out of hatred or out of an interior motive, but he's speaking as a ranking senator, a very senior ranking senator for that matter. And I think that the order which he quoted, which he came up, Order 54, of course, I know what that order means, okay? It's an issue that could have come on or from another order, maybe, maybe order 7, 8, 9 or thereabout. But let me just say this there, that there's nothing to worry about, because a new assembly like this, we start on this kind of a note. After some time, everybody will get to understand each other.
Do you think that those who lost out are still aggrieved?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
The Yaris of this world?
No, I don't think so. That is the imagination of some people. There are many things that goes on in the Senate. Not the way you look at it, that the way it is. Okay? There's some development on the floor of the Senate. You may think these people are enemies. They are not enemies. In another 2 hours, 3 hours, they start talking and say, oh, why did you do this? Why did you? So it's settled, So it's a normal thing in parliamentary gathering like this for people to express displeasure, and later they will settle and they move on.
Engagement with lawmakers, when they say, oh, nothing is wrong, until we saw 4 different Senate presidents change under Obasanjo. It was a normal thing. And this is how you politicians talk.
But don't forget.
Let me take you to Kogi. Because I remember at that time, everybody said everything was okay. Kenny Inamani seems to be the stop to that change.
I don't see that happening.
Chubok Adigbo.
I don't see that
we saw until Kenny Inamani, it was just a normal thing. Yes. A normal thing. And 4, we had 5 Senate presidents in just about 4 years. Well, and the smarter they hear me. Why have you not given up? The appeal court said all the grounds that you brought before it are baseless and they were thrown out, lacked merit. Yet you're still going to the Supreme Court. Why?
Well, if you look at my background, you will appreciate why I have tenacity of purpose in anything I'm doing. I was lucky to be in the Senate when the 2022 Electoral Act was amended. Now, let me tell you this, that the hallmark of democracy is that institution called legislative arm. The National Assembly is the symbol of democracy. It differentiates democratic government from dictatorial government or from military government. That institution is the life wire of democracy. Now, the laws that were made in that institution must be seen to be interpreted in accordance with what is provided. And you don't have to be a lawyer to understand and to appreciate when you are guilty or when you are at fault. The audacity I have is the fact that I was part of those who drafted the Electoral Act. And let me just tell you the three major issues. I want to go to the others. After this presentation, you can adjudge whether I have a case or not.
I'm not a court.
You are not a court. I'm not a court too. That is where we are going to.
I'm just a member of the Fourth Estate of the Realm.
Now,
I'm just privileged to have that.
Okay, let me just educate. Let me just educate you. In the 2022 Electoral Act, it says direct primary elections should be conducted word by word. That's number one law. Word by word, not local government headquarters. So I stayed in my community, where we have about 2,000 members, in my own community, which happens to be the local government headquarters and the ward headquarters. Now, in their submission, they said, look, this is from my opponent. This is from SAN Abdul Razak, who represented the APC in Kogi State. He said, and let me look at this page. He said, all members, APC 15, local government, ward of Kababunun local government, converge at APC Secretariat Headquarters, Kaba. That's why they had this one. All of them had, according to them, they said they had the primaries in the local government headquarters, contrary to the provision of Section 84A of the Electoral Act. You don't have to be a lawyer to know when you are guilty.
But Senator,
Senator,
just a moment on that point.
Yeah.
Who has the authority to conduct a governorship primary? What body has the authority to conduct a governorship primary?
The party and the INEC.
No, INEC does not conduct.
Yes.
INEC supervises and monitors.
The party set up a committee.
According to law, is the one who coordinates.
Yes.
Did the APC at the national level conduct this primary?
Are you aware to that? The chairman...
No, I'm not... why are you...
So, I'm sorry.
I'm not the journalist. Answer the question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, the chairman...
You were a journalist those years.
I'm still a journalist. But the chairman of the panel left at the time they were to conduct the primary election. The chairman, which is contrary to the provision of APC law, regulation governing primary election. But more important, let me tell you, in Kogi State, we have 239 wards. Lawyers will tell you that the facts speak for itself. We have 239 wards in Kogi State. What is before the lordship is result of 11 wards. This is from my
out of the 239.
Out of 239 wards.
Why was
they have the result of 11 wards?
Why was this difficult for your lawyers to adduce the evidence?
They did.
And prove this to the court to the extent that not even one of the judges, 3 of them sat on that matter, and not one could side on your defense to say that they said that you lack merit in your argument.
In fact, what they said was that we allege forgery. There was nothing like forgery in our submission. See, with due respect to their lordship, I wouldn't want to go further. I went to the APC court, the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court is a court of, not just a court of law, a court of justice, fairness, superior reasoning, and above all, when there's a pronouncement of other courts, it may not be too taken seriously. If the Supreme Court should rule that 11 ward result is good enough to declare someone a candidate out of 234, then they have made a new law which we call case law. It means they have made the pronouncement. Because, you know, you cannot put something on nothing that it will stand. It's not going to stand. It's a settled doctrine of law since 1962, when Lord Dennis said, in the case of UAC and McVogt, that you cannot put something on nothing and it will stand. You cannot come with local government election result without the word result. One of the Supreme Court judges today, in one of her ruling, when she was in the Court of Appeal, she said, and I quote, he said, electoral process is a pyramid. That the foundation must first be laid. Without the foundation, that's the unit. I'm sure you listened to the judgment of the Federal High Court, the appeal court in the case of the presidential election, when the APC, the PDP, and Labour Party alleged malpractices in the polling units across the country. They said they didn't bring the result to justify the allegation.
Did you take the result to the court in all of those areas?
The result that they submitted is just 11. They are here, 11 for Kotokarufi, only out of 239. And you expect me to keep quiet as an educated person, as a lawmaker. But why are we made the law, we drafted the law.
So why are members of your party saying that you are a bad loser?
A bad loser because I'm educated and I used to be a lawmaker. We drafted the law. And I was a member of the committee that drafted this law. And I participated meaningfully when it was being passed on the floor of the Senate.
Without prejudice to your rights,
yes.
With your right, constitutional right to seek redress in court, are you a party man?
I am a party man.
As a party man, if the party says this is the way to go, and I understand that this candidate of your party has been taken to your president, the president who is your leader of your party has been authenticated by the leadership of your party. What does this mean? Are you going against the stand of your party in this matter?
I'm still in APC. Have you heard me criticizing my government?
Have you participated in anything in the party since after that primaries?
I have not been invited, but let me tell you, in this democratic dispensation, we are not under a military government. You have a right to seek for justice. If you're afraid that you have been cheated, that's the hallmark of democracy. Democracy is not you keep quiet when they are putting sand in your mouth.
Have you been left alone in this fight?
You see, when you're a leader, what makes you a leader is to be able to surmount what majority feels is not possible. That makes you a leader. Martin Luther King Jr. said, the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands at the moment of comfort and convenience, but at time of challenge and controversy. That's what defines a man.
So because...
I'm telling you this because the president will not ask me not to fight for my right, not to go to court. They wouldn't do that.
Have you sought audience with the president on this?
I don't have to. I don't have to seek audience because the president is too busy to listen to participate in all these issues. The party is there. The chairman of the party, they knew what I'm talking about.
What you are doing, do you
Why did they call me? Why did they ask me to withdraw the case in court? They could not have done that because they knew well that there was no valid election.
In terms of the fact of the matter and the strength of your own argument,
yes.
What gives you the confidence that you might win this case?
You know, this is not my personal case. Like I told you last time I was here, in the last 32 years, Kogi West had not produced a governor. We are not slave to anybody. We are one of the most educated people of northern region. We are not illiterate. Okay? So I'm fighting the cause of my people, just like he is fighting for his people to continue another 8 years. The Bira people, many of them are supporting me. Igala people are supporting me because they know, see, there's no religion more than your conscience. Your conscience is your religion. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, when people want to commit atrocities, when people want to embezzle money, they forget religion, Christian and Muslim, they connive and steal money. But when you ask them to use conscience for justice, it becomes a problem.
Morality, emotions are not cannot be adduced in court. You have to prove your case.
This is what I'm telling you, that if you are a judge, you expect 239 word results, and they presented before the judge 11 word results. On earth, where on earth can that pass the true test of justice? You said you conducted election you are not talking of local government, you said state election. And you said out of the 239 words, which this electoral act stipulates should be word by word, you now came with 11 to court.
Your party was joined in this matter, isn't it?
Of course they were joined it.
But your party is on the side of Mr. Ododo, isn't it?
Well, so far they are, but we are all before the court of law. You see, when the Supreme Court, whenever they make their pronouncement, it becomes a case law. If the Supreme Court should say that, okay, we accepted this 11 result for whatever reason, for technicality reasons, it means 11 word result is enough to become a governor. So it means they have set up what we call case law.
Let's assume
a new law is being established if that happens.
Should you emerge victorious at the Supreme Court, you might not get the support of Governor Yaya Bello and some party leaders in your state. Are you worried about this?
That is not true. You see, when you're in government, everybody claps for you. Whether you are doing good or bad, everybody deceive you. We are with you. But when the party law changes, you see the reality of man. There are people who are calling me, well, we are just following you, we are praying for you, we're just following them. That in thousands who are telling me, smart, you see, the man they brought. Why bring Ododo here now? Let us talk with him. You have a responsibility to bring somebody who wants to be a governor. A neighboring state to your own state. The safety of Kogi is the safety of Kwara. So if you have a governor who cannot stand and come articulate programs and policies that he wants to implement, so we should just go blindly and vote for that kind of a man. See, Yaya Adoza Bello is my brother, is my friend. I have nothing against him. Not a personal. I'm not talking about his self-governance. I'm not criticizing because it's my party. And I want APC to still win the election.
And was your benefactor too?
Well, yes, just like I was his DG of his campaign, second term, that brought him to office. Shefu making Shefu any, Tamekeni Niman Tamekega. Yeah? I was the DG campaign. Why was I appointed DG campaign of his second term? It was Kogi West and Kogi Central that voted Yaya overwhelmingly to emerge second term.
Let's wrap this up.
Yes.
Should you lose in this Supreme Court case,
yes,
what would you do?
Well, you know, tomorrow is in the hand of God. Then two, when we get to the river, we start looking at the engineering work that is required for us to cross. But make no mistake about it, I served 3 terms in the Senate, okay? And I have a large followership. And many of them are pretending now because they have to survive. They have to pretend, they have to survive.
You have a Dino, you have an Abejide,
yes,
from your senatorial district.
Yes.
Should you be a winner in that Supreme Court case, don't you think that is in itself a problem for you?
It's not a problem.
Or for your party?
No, it's not a problem because we have leaders, we have elders. And above all, individual antecedent, your track record speaks for you.
Some of your elders have said, follow Dino. Some of your elders have said, follow Abejide.
No. You see...
The senatorial district seems to be divided already.
You see, many animals may be at the village square dancing, market square dancing. But when the elephant appears, the movement of the elephant, you don't have to talk.
So you are bigger than Dino?
Well, when we get to the... When we
defeated you at some point.
Well, I've defeated him twice or thrice. But don't worry, he's still my brother, okay? When we get to the river, we know how to cross it. Okay, we know how to cross it.
Thank you so much.
Just bear one thing in mind, that as a former lawmaker, the content and spirit of this electoral act, I was a party to it. So if I'm not knowledgeable, I'm speaking from a point of law that we have drafted. I'm not a judge, but I'm not in doubt that there are more than 7 points. They didn't conduct an election by voting. The law says, cast your vote. They said they did option A4. Option A4, you know the option A4? Babangida. When you say 10, 30, 40, 70, they said that's the option. The vote they gave to me, I had more than what they even wrote for me by the time we calculate. The vote they gave to Ododo, he had less. They are all in court.
All right. Senator Smart Ademi, we allow you to argue your case. You're sounding like a lawyer, but you're not a trained one, I guess.
No, I'm still a student.
So I wish you the very best.
It's my pleasure.
And whatever be the case, may Nigeria win. That's the idea. Smart Ademi, thank you so much.
God bless you. Thank you so much. I do appreciate it.
We'll take a break, everyone. But when we return, an obedient, the Labour Party governorship candidate in Bayelsa State will be joining us, and he thinks that there is a strong chance for obedience in Bayelsa State to turn around things in terms of the politics of that state. Join us again, everyone. Thanks so much, everyone, for staying with us. 3 elections will happen on November 11th in Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi State. Today in Imo, the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Senator Sam Ayenwu, the stage of campaign flag off where governors of the PDP, stakeholders and leaders of the party stormed the capital of the state in Owerri, where they trooped out in support of Samuel Ayenwu, who is the National Secretary of the PDP, who is seeking to remove Hope Uzodinma of the APC from office in the November 11 governorship election. You can listen to Sam Ayenwu.
Our farmers will be supported with grants. Our youth will be gainfully employed. All the businesses in Imo will strive again. Because the reason is because we are going to make Imo safer.
One election in Southeast, another in South-South, and the other one in the North Central. That's how diverse those elections will be on the 11th of November. Let me take you to Bayelsa State in the southern region of the country. I'm being joined by the Labour Party governorship candidate, Eradiri Undamofa, who otherwise called Udengs. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it. You say you're an obedient.
Yes, I am.
How much of a structure does your party have in Bayelsa State?
Well, generally, our party have structures in every unit and every ward in the state. And, of course, that was expressed in the last elections where Bayelsa came second, as at what was written. Ordinarily, Bayelsa won that election, if not for a few...
Labour Party won in Bayelsa.
Yes,
that's what you meant to say?
Yes, in the presidential election.
What gives you the impression? Because that's not what INEC...
That's what I'm saying now. That aside from what was announced on the ground, the Labour Party won the election. But in any case, we came second. For us to come up second, it shows that we had the structures. But when people talk about structures, what are the structures? Are these structures of poverty, structures of corruption? I think that the people are the structures. The people, young people who are graduating from universities in their numbers without jobs are the structures. Those who send their children to schools without teachers are the structures that will work with us in this election. Those who cannot do business in Yenegua are the structures. So for me, when people talk about structures, I think that it is over the years, people have been battered to the corner where they think that if you don't have units or, I don't know how to explain structure, but I think that the people of Bayelsa have suffered enough to the point where they will be looking at candidates and their credentials, those who can actually change the tide in the state. And I come with that capacity, competence, and credentials to be able to solve the problems in Bayelsa.
PD, Bayelsa State is seen and known as a traditional PDP state and a stronghold of Bayelsa State. Someone like you, born in Port Harcourt, had part of your schooling in Yenagua, schooled in Calabar, and all what have you. You understand so much. And there are those who say that you, in fact, you are a product of PDP, that you have blood of PDP flowing in you, that you're more or less a PDP member.
I'm not just only, I served in the PDP government.
As a commissioner twice?
Yes, as a commissioner twice. I served in the APC government as a special assistant to the MD of NDDC in the last administration. I just feel that as a young man, Frank Fanon said, every generation out of relative obscurity must rediscover his mission, whether to betray or fulfill it. At my generation must be seen contributing to the upliftment of my people. And when you find out that these same structures we talk about will not allow young people or people who aspire, people who have capacity to express themselves using a party platform. Of course, parties are platforms that we will use to express ourselves. And for me, I think that I have the capacity to deal with the challenges in Bayelsa. And so I will not allow a party to hold me down, knowing fully well that somebody will use his turn as a younger person, and then when he's over 65, want to still be there when you know that they are not producing any results. For me, I'm not wired that way. I went to University of Benin where we were taught to always keep our head high. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here.
Interesting. Why do you think that you are better than Etimi Silva, Adoye Diri, a former senator? These are, I mean, a sitting governor, and Etimi Silva, who has been a minister, who is being a governor. What do you bring to the table that is better than this? Do you think that you are better than some of these persons that I've mentioned?
Yes, I am far better than them. The reason is that some of them, especially Etimi Silva, was far younger than myself when he was governor. He had the energy at that time. I also possess those energies. I've been schooled, properly schooled. I've also worked with him, worked with also Governor Dixon. I've had the experience and the opportunity of working around these leaders. So I understand. This current governor, when I was IYC president when he was in ESCO, we know ourselves. We know the value and capacity we bring in to what we do. In the last, in 2011, when I contested for House of Reps, this governor was part of the leaders of the Labour Party. So we saw our capacities at that level. I believe very strongly that with the positions I held and the way I affected society, if given the opportunity as a governor, I would do far better. I was IYC president. I was part and parcel of the peace process in the Niger Delta first as Secretary General, again as President, as Commissioner of Youth, later Commissioner for Environment. Those times that I served in government, the records are there for the people to see. Compared to these young people, these men, when they were my age, some of them did not add the value I've added. I run an engineering company and a member of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. I employ labor, I create jobs, I pay tax in the state, the same tax that they are using to marry wives, build houses and hotels, instead of dealing with the issues in the state, comes from my pocket as well, as a young man who is adding value to the society, the economy, and our state.
So you see yourself you see yourself as a man of means?
Yes. No, a man of means, yes. A man of means.
Take me to the fact that how do you hope to fund your campaign?
Well, you see, people talk about is Sudan's ready for this election. We are just about 23 days to the elections. Everything that they do, I do.
Like what?
I have a secretariat. I'm campaigning. The entire structures. It's just that if they come with 20 cars, I come with 2. But I come with a stronger message communicating with the people. My agenda you have seen. My agenda is every community you go to, you see this. This is a summary of what you have.
You said you have a better alternative.
Yes, we are a better alternative.
So what are you bringing that is different? Because there are those who are criticizing and say, the only thing that is campaigning on is being an obedient. You are saying that you're going to bring Peter Obi to campaign for you, and the youth are going to be your platform to win this election. What are the figures? What are the numbers?
Let me clear.
Apart from that,
let me
obedient.
Let me clear this. I'm not campaigning with under Obi. No. I'm campaigning based on the issues that bedevil our people in Bayelsa. Only a Bayelsan who understands the issues can deal with it. Yes, I'm an obedient. Why? Because I believe in capacity, integrity, and competence. These are the core values of the obedient. But I'm not contesting because of Obi. No, I'm not. I'm contesting because of the issues
do you think that factor
in my state.
That factor can help you?
Of course, it will help me because he is a man that people respect and people love, which he has come to Bayelsa to express. But if I don't do my homework, I'll fail the elections. If over the years I have been given an opportunity to lead the people, if I didn't lead according to capacity, competence, and character, I won't be here today.
Tell us about Bayelsa State and what you think you can do better. Some of the statistics about your state are not anything to write home about. The statistics that need urgent change in the lives and the livelihood of the people of your state in terms of education, in terms of poverty rate. In fact, yesterday, just here, your state ranked at the bottom on the pyramid of the performance of state. In fact, your state ranked the second next to Zamfara in terms of reliance on federal revenue. But how do you hope to handle this should you be elected governor of Bayelsa?
Well, first of all, I feel very sad about always sitting down to hear about the sorry state of my state. We are not even up to 500,000 people. And yet, we are the second poorest state in the country because of leadership. We compare ourselves to states like Ebonyi, Jigawa. We see what they are doing. The meager resources that get into those states are properly and judiciously utilized for the betterment of their people. Come to Bayelsa and see what is going on. Of course, you have read the statistics. I have come up with a simple agenda, the people agenda. People, education, agriculture, and power. With these four things, I'm going to change the economic face of the state. One value that I bring to this ticket is that I have capacity. I'm a man who, anything I put my hand in, I change it. And that's why all the positions that I've held, I bring that capacity and competence to my
Tell us
state.
how you are going to do
Therefore,
that. Because
what I'm going to do...
people are tired of rhetoric. They're tired of preaching about, capacity. Or how are you going to get it done?
First of all,
in terms of numbers, in terms of timelines, in 6 months, how would you get more jobs? In 1 year, how much of agriculture can you bring?
Let me tell you. As IYC president, I created more jobs than a government in 4 years. When people were flooding the states with bread, water, even as minimal as bread and water was coming from outside the state. But I stopped it to allow for local participation. And today, water alone, I created over 5,000 jobs. Bread, people left banks to set up bakeries in the state. I have done it before. Today, I'm starting with the people. I'm engaging the people. Because if you want to succeed as a government, you need the people to support you. You need the people to participate in the leadership. And so I am already talking to the people and preparing them.
For example, let me give you what the data is saying.
Yeah.
The MBS, has put the peg unemployment rate in Bayelsa State to be well over 35%, which is above the national average.
I saw it yesterday.
There is a data which says 89% of the population of Bayelsa State is considered to be multidimensionally poor, the second highest rate among the 36 states of the Federation, including the FCT. First and foremost, your people, based on what data is telling us, are very, very poor. How much of jobs can you create, and from where? How do you alleviate poverty? How do you take them out of poverty? Practical steps.
Yeah, I'm going to be dealing with agriculture. Bayelsa has a 60,000-ton cassava processing facility dead in Bayelsa. If you look at what I have sent to you, I have itemized 11 companies owned by the state that could create jobs that are dead. We have a cargo airport. I'm going to build a food processing and storage facility. Look, I'm going to plug the excesses, all the leakages in the government revenue sector. When I was commissioner for environment, I closed the forest. I plugged all the areas they used to steal money from. And I was generating between 35 to 40 million every month to government posts from wood alone. And so there are a lot of areas that I'm going to clog and then generate the resources that I pump into areas like agriculture. I talked about building a food processing and storage facility.
How much of jobs can those create?
Thousands of jobs.
In practical.
Why? Because
you have your numbers. Because if you want to lead Bayelsa State, you should have your figures. You should have your numbers. What are those figures telling you?
Let me tell you that I'm going to create. I don't like this. You know, you box a man to a corner and he says, I'm going to create 100,000 jobs. And then at the end of the day, it cannot meet that.
Because if you say that because you want to create a cassava processing, you should be able to understand, just for a moment, you should be able to understand the capacity of such an outfit.
Yes.
How much of jobs such an outfit can, then you'll be able to tell us that if I'm creating so and so, it will create so and so number of jobs. That is a question. That is what people of Bayelsa State want to hear tonight.
Now, can you listen to me? 60,000-ton cassava processing facility will create several jobs. I can't put a figure to it.
You've not done the homework
because you are going to be supplying beverage companies, you are going to be supplying pharmaceutical companies, you are going to be supplying the livestock by processing cassava. So I talked about building a food processing and storage facility in the airport. Bayelsa's plant plantain. Excess plantain can be export material. Fish, crayfish can be export material. You can imagine the quantum of jobs that will create in that sector. Logistics alone will create a lot of jobs in the state. So truly, I've not put a figure to it, but with that activity, we're going to create
quickly, thanks. I have two questions and we need to close now. And one of them is, I've traveled through the waters of Bayelsa State. And you know that there is a single road that leads you from out of Port Harcourt straight into the waters of that Yenagua. And there are a lot of people who say life is beyond Yenagua. There is a Keremo community, the Brass community, and all of those communities largely surrounded by water. That is wealth. When people see water in some other climes, they see wealth. What are you seeing? And how much of wealth do you see for Bayelsa State in those potentials that the water brings?
Well, first of all, we're going to be building the Brass Atlantic City. We're going to be building the new Yenagua town. These towns are to support our people in those areas. A road is going to Brass. The other road that is supposed to go to Agi have stopped in Ekirimo. We're going to take the road to Agi. The idea is to open up the blue economy to the hinterlands. And so by the time we invest in those roads and then those facilities, we'll be able to, tap into the wealth of the ocean. Bayelsa has gas. In Nembe, for instance, in Nembe Creek, vessels can go into Nembe Creek. Our plan is to veer off the road to Brass, about 5 kilometers to Nembe Creek, pipe the gas, open up the area, develop it, and then advertise it as an industrial area That way we can bring in industries to the place.
I mean, talking about the restiveness, you being leadership, the leadership of IYC, if you get into that conversation, we might not live here. But there's something that I'm more passionate, and I think that any Nigerian should be passionate about. We celebrated women, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, but this is quite disturbing. Udengs.
Yeah.
Statistics is telling us that female children who are out of school in Bayelsa State gives us the second highest figure in the whole of the 6 states of the Niger Delta. That is not a statistics that anybody should be happy about. When our young girls and females in that state are out of school in that number, that calls for a lot of worry.
Yes,
what can you do to change this?
What I intend to do is to invest in education. First of all, is to declare free education in the state, and then upgrade the educational facilities in our state. There are no teachers in primary schools in Bayelsa. We want to employ teachers, train them, equip them, ensure that their welfare is one that is enviable. And then we introduce information technology education. If we do that, and we ensure that our task force is not allowing young children to remain at home, we would have sent those young ones to schools.
Udengs Eradiri is the Labour Party governorship candidate in Bayelsa State, and he's been talking about his manifesto and his ambition in wanting to become Bayelsa State governor. Governor, hoping that he will be able to unseat the PDP candidate. That might be an uphill task. But you say
it's not a difficult task. The people already know that they have failed in providing the service. You read the statistics here. You can see that every indices that we are supposed to be doing good, we're down the ladder.
Thank you so much, Mr. Raduri. Thank you so much indeed. Well, that's how we draw the curtains of the program on tonight's show. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I'm Sean Wakimale. I'll see you tomorrow again at 7 p.m. God bless Nigeria.